My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And full disclosure, we finished last week's episode, and then we made it all the way to Wednesday. We record on Thursdays, and we were having a live stream last night from the recording time, and we still hadn't actually, decided.
That is not our typical MO.
That's not our typical. We usually do.
Yeah.
We hadn't decided on any episode topics for this month, including the one that was coming the next
To be
day.
fair, it was nagging me all weekend.
Yeah.
I just had to work on solid ideas.
Other
for
stuff,
a while.
yeah. And this is very unusual. Usually we have 2 months ahead of time planned. But listen, like a lot of people, our lives have been crazy. Okay? Lots of stuff going on. Lots of stress. Lots of nonsense. And then Sky, the lovely backbone of this whole operation, Sky, comes in like the friggin' avenging angel, all right?
Or the mom.
Or the mom. It is the mom. I think it's a more accurate statement. And we have a private chat, okay? Like a planning chat. And she goes, hello, I've come up with a few podcast ideas, and then posts this long ass list of some of the best ideas I've ever seen. Okay?
It's so good.
Not only just not just vague concepts. She had a title for the episode. She had a brief for what each episode would cover. And I was like, damn girl, okay, you've done been thinking. And there were some really good ones, but we decided, since it was the day before recording, we had a live stream to do, so no afternoon to use it on.
Yeah.
We decided to go with the one that required absolutely no work on our parts to record except to show up and chat. And that's what we're going to do today. We're just going to talk about when life gets crazy and it's stressful and you're having a bad time, what you like to watch to get away from it all. And that's just what we're going to talk. It's going to be a nice, chill little episode where we're just talking about dramas that we like to escape to.
And this is possible. Some people would automatically think, "Oh, you mean comfort dramas?" No, because we have a separate episode about that
different
you can go listen to.
Yeah,
so we will talk about how escapism can be very different from comfort. It can be the same. They can definitely be the same.
There's overlap. There's a Venn diagram with some overlap there.
For sure.
But I feel like a lot of people wouldn't necessarily find a fun shoot 'em up comforting, but they are fun to watch to turn your brain off for a few hours.
Exactly.
Literally before coming to record this, I was watching, I don't even know what year it came out, but it's the newer Predator movie. Terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Not the cool one with the indigenous tribe. Not that one.
Prey one from
not Prey.
Or whatever.
The Predator one. Okay. Terrible. Okay. Just terrible. But I was just watching it and I was like, I am thinking of nothing. It's a terrible movie. It isn't really the goal.
Honestly.
This sort of situation.
Do you want to do work when you escape? No.
No. I'm just yeah, sure, predator dogs. Why not?
Sure. Hey.
Why not? But yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're just having a fun little vibe, just a chill vibe together. And with you, our listeners, whom we do love. We're sending little finger hugs to y'all. And I need to first off acknowledge that there's definitely at least one person who every week turns on the Noonas because they're like, I need a break from my stressful life. And we become the escapism for someone with our shenanigans.
Which is great.
Yeah, which we love. We're happy to do so.
Happy to help.
Yeah. Because life is stressful these days. A lot going on. It seems like bad after bad after bad.
Yeah. It's a little draining.
Yeah. It's so draining, isn't it? It's just
It is.
But luckily, we have a solution sometimes to some of our draining things, and that's just being addicted to Asian television. So we just want to talk about that, just
I think part of escapism with dramas, in my opinion, is, again, I know that we're not all mood watchers. I know that like Jessie if Jessie's in the mood to watch, she'll watch like the same genres, like I understand.
Yeah.
But for me, sometimes it's a throw something at the wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah.
And it's definitely like, there's a lot of times I'm well-intentioned to be like, I want to watch the last 4 episodes of something, but things are going not good. So it is more appealing to start 5 different things.
Mm-hmm.
no,
because you get really into like, what are they setting up? Like watching the setup of dramas in and of itself. And
it's so much fun.
Yeah, and getting introduced to new characters, like in a new scenery. It's kind of just like nice to like when you want to just watch something random and not be like already in the story. You just want to start new, like see strangers on the screen.
You want those like butterflies from the new love, the fresh story, like you're watching a rom-com and everything's going great, and then it hits that like third act breakup, and you're like, no,
you're like the dark turn
right now.
Episode 11, you're just like,
I'm gonna go find a new comfort couple to watch, like I'm gonna go find new butterflies somewhere.
If you like watch a lot of different genres, like to like be able to get out of that genre to another thing, because you're like, oh, I don't need to watch the last 4 episodes of this right now. I can do from my crime thriller to a rom-com or whatever.
Like the other day I sat down and made a list of like the dramas I hope to finish before the end of the year. Like a lot of stuff I've put on the
good
back
intention
burner that I would
list.
like.
I've got one of those going. We'll see.
The next day after I made that list, I totally ignored the list.
Of course.
Entirely.
Of course.
And I was like, oh, what's new? Boop, 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 boop. Like, I'm gonna just check these out. And my excuse was, we're doing a What We're Watching episode soon. I'm gonna check these out.
I'm gonna watch a bunch of new things so I can talk about stuff that I'm interested in. My thing is like when I'm in, like I'm just like really stressed out, is I'll go and I'll try to start so many dramas and I'll get like 5 minutes in and I'm like, I can't do this. Like I can't, I don't have this in me. And so one of 2 things happens with me. Okay. But one of 3 things happens. One, I either go watch a drama I've already seen and I'm like, yeah, this is fine. One that I know I might be able to say it by heart. Okay, it's Cutie Pie. I go watch Cutie Pie again. And then,
I was waiting for the confession of that.
It was like, the other thing I'll do is I'll just say, screw this, and I'll go to either Netflix to watch a new murder documentary, if there's a new murder documentary, classic, or I'll go to YouTube and I'll watch some like amphibian videos or something. Like, like just I'll watch some gaming just YouTube or something.
Absolutely.
So then, more recently, as I've been telling people, I've gotten really into, when I'm really stressed, terrible Chinese TikTok dramas. And I gotta say, these things are funny as hell to watch on YouTube because they'll like compile them because they're all like 1-minute clips that are filmed vertically for TikTok. And there's like 100 channels of these that you can find on YouTube. They're all terribly translated. They also all have copyright music, a lot of Korean OST music, but they're not allowed playing it. So they like poorly try to like reverb or edit it out. But you can, I'm like, that's the theme from Goblin playing in this scene right now. Like, but they're trying to hide it. And there's about 6 plots that are just told in rotation, and it has like this rotating actors. So I'm like, oh, that guy's in this one again. They're like an hour and a half long. Let me tell you, my husband's it's become a bit of a meme in our house. He's like, oh, watching another one of your TikTok dramas, eh? And I'm like, listen, she's pregnant with twins by the CEO, and her family wants to, after a one-night stand where they were both drugged against their will.
And her family, you don't have to like care about anybody.
Her family's trying to human traffic her to some old dude who wants to marry her, but like then the hot CEO, who's apparently the richest dude, but also hot, handsome, and nice, is coming in. Like, it's such a waste of time.
Yeah. I was gonna say, what's funny about that is that if you were going through the Netflix like list of movies and you saw that movie, you'd be like, hell no.
Yeah, no.
Right? You'd be like, nobody's got time for that.
No, like, this is so stupid. But when it's like, hey, do you want to watch a poorly made, poorly acted with like a nightmare of a soundscape because they have to like cleverly, in air quotes, edit out any copyrighted music.
They can't have it going for too long.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, man, I do. And I was actually laughing because they'll just film these things anywhere. And this is like a true story. I was watching one. I had to turn it off because I was like, I can't do this after I saw this.
She sent a picture of this.
I sent a picture of this to Sky because I was like, Sky, this is ridiculous. There was like a scene where, of course, someone gets kidnapped because someone always gets kidnapped. Okay, always. All right, kidnapping, huge problem apparently in rich people China.
A real epidemic.
Just hot billionaires' wives getting like contract wives getting kidnapped left, right, and center. But they're holding her in like this like abandoned building, and it was a real abandoned building. And the reason I know this is because they filmed the entire thing in front of a wall covered in graffiti, but the graffiti was all dicks. It was all penises. It was a wall of penis graffiti. I'm like, did no one notice what this was? Like, did no one be like, come on?
Someone noticed it like in a time when they're like, oh, we spent too much time.
Yeah, we spent
like
can't
editor. Editor definitely noticed.
It's like they could have blurred it out. Like they're just like
they don't have the time or the budget for that.
That's right. They don't. And I was just like, you know what? Go off, King. Like I can't do this.
But you actually halted watching that one.
I had to stop because I was laughing so hard. But see, here's the thing. Bringing it back to escapism. That one thing made me laugh so hard, I forgot what I was stressed about. So it's like,
Well, and that's kind of like to get into kind of a flow state, be it being introduced to something new, or even if it's something bad, like being distracted by the level of bad that you're watching.
Yeah.
Kind of the key.
That's why like watching bad movies with friends is so much fun. Right?
Oh yeah.
Because it's like the the Mystery Theater 3000 effect, right? Where you're just like, this is terrible, but we're all having a good time. And like it's fun. Like back in college, my husband and I used to go to see like the real low B movies at the Fantasia Festival. And when I tell you, they would be held in these really fancy auditoriums, but you would be watching the worst movie you've ever seen. But everyone in the audience was having such a good time. Like, they like during like the, the sexy music, everyone's clapping. Like everyone's like, cheering when like, the terrible fight scene is happening. It was fun. And that's, that's sort of a group escapism that I don't get to enjoy it much anymore. But
we sometimes have a version of it during Found Family Movie Night, which we have that once a month for our Patreon supporters in case you're curious what that all is. But because the whole thing about our movie nights is we pick typically Asian movies, and usually it's ones we haven't seen. Usually it's ones none of us have seen. There's a large percentage of not good movies.
But like when you watch a not good movie by yourself, it's a weird experience. But when you watch a terrible movie with other people,
and also in a position where you're like, I really can't actually stop this because this is what we committed to. So here we are.
So, like there was one that we were watching. It was a Thai movie with a wedding in it. But like the dude, like we were just like, don't go back to this dude. Don't do it. man. Like we were, it was.
We got to the point where we were like boo hissing the fact that he was ending quote unquote happy. Like
Monica, don't marry this man, Monica. Get out of there. Like and that's a fun sort of like. I feel because we are old, and don't live anywhere near each other, and pandemic, sort of the art of the group vibe is like it's like been it's sort of a thing of the past almost, which is sad because like watching something and like anti-cringe culture is at an all-time high, and I'm like, we gotta let that go because cringe is fun, because like these movies that sometimes the movies we watch are really good. Okay, that does happen.
True. We do watch some good ones.
We do watch some good ones. Like the one that we just watched was pretty fun. I had a good time watching it. But like, I feel like a lot of people would really benefit, and their mental health would benefit from letting go of the idea of something being too embarrassing to watch.
Or something just being perfect.
Yeah.
Like
perfect is the enemy of good.
It really is. Like, I think it's also because we're old enough that we like remember doing things like going on like Friday nights. Your thing was to go to the movie rental store. And so then you spent money renting that movie. So you're committed to watching that full movie because you spent money on it.
Yeah. Whereas like with streaming services,
with groups of people too.
Yeah. Like you would have a family movie night. It wouldn't just be you watching it alone.
Or like you and your friends would all go out and
to the movies
or whatever.
Make a day of it.
Like, but the other thing I think that kills that group movie vibe nowadays is phones, right? Because like my kids, when they go to a party and they're all watching a movie together, if one of them's not enjoying it, they don't ruin it for everybody else, but they just pull out their phone, right? They don't engage, have to watch it anymore. You don't have to be part of the group. You can just do your own thing in the group.
And I do think that like it has kind of transferred over to like gaming, and so like watching people on Twitch is kind of where the group
because you can chat together
while the person's playing a game, but it's like it's different because the action on the screen is live and it's like changing, and it's not like
and you're not
ever
involved in it, you know what I mean?
Not like to an extent that it's like I think watching like movies, like everybody in that room is as uninvolved at like the same time, like they're not like performing in the movie while like everybody's watching them or something like that.
Like I feel that there's fewer and fewer places for people to go and like have sort of healthy stress release mechanisms that are both cheap or free and easily accessible and like safe. It's like for all ages. Like, like sure you could take up a drinking problem, but I don't suggest that, like
super healthy.
But like it used to be like you could go to a pub and you could have one drink and it wouldn't cost you a week's salary, but that's not the case anymore. You know what I mean? Like everything continuously gets more and more expensive and more inaccessible, especially if you're someone
less time.
If you're someone like me who has health problems, you can't really engage with any of that anyway. Or if you like live somewhere where that doesn't exist because all of these, the third spaces are all being either monetized or just closed. I can see why like stress is at an all-time and sort of disengagement with each other, with other people is really low, it's sad.
And probably in the past 10 to 15 years, the way the internet becomes a very personalized thing to every single person, much less even just like your Google search results are very personalized to just you. It's not like we all have the same Google search results each time.
No.
Much less. It's nice that things are personalized to a point,
but it's so insular.
Like, it does isolate us from everyone else, and also does not expose us to a wider variety of things, it keeps drilling down further and further to where, yeah, it's nice if you want to be, oh, I only want to learn about this one K-pop group. Yeah, you're going to be able to do that really easily.
Yeah.
But like, you aren't exposed to a mid movie that your friend might really like, but like you're not really into, but like you're going to be nice and watch it with them anyway.
Yeah.
And find bits that you like. Maybe don't like it that much, but you're not going to hate on their taste because like that's their thing and that's great. You know, like,
and
just to play with being okay with cringy stuff, being okay with things that are not perfect, and not always feeling like you have to be engaging in things that you believe is the best, you believe is high art or whatever you believe.
Or that like you can like talk about and have some like jurisdiction over people, like be like,
right.
I feel like the internet, though it is great, and like, listen, I exist pure, like everything that I get to be able to do because of my health problems is because the internet exists. We're only friends because the internet exists. Like there's no world in which our paths would have crossed other than if the internet exists. So in a lot of ways, I think people's lives are much richer, but people our age's lives are much richer because of the internet. But I feel like it's become like I'm especially worried for like people younger than us who don't already have social skills and people who perhaps didn't have the best social skills to begin with. And when they get on the internet, that's sort of that badge of like anonymity. Like you can be whoever you want on the internet. It's really emboldened a lot of people to have these sort of negative feedback loops for themselves. And they don't actually understand, like, especially from like in our community, like our fandom communities, like negativity is at an all-time high. And I'm disagreeing with a lot of people who are like, oh, fandoms didn't used to be this negative. It did, but the difference was people would say, hey, cut it the hell out. Like there's only 50 of us on this forum. If
on this discussion board, and the moderator would be like,
hey, no, enough of that shit, you know?
Sure.
But now it's just like a dog pile where you can't, you know, if you say something and someone disagrees with you, they're gonna they can't just say, I disagree and then move on with their lives. They have to somehow prove that you are incorrect.
And then like 50 other people also have to
pile on.
Like do that too, because they're like, oh, I want to be on the side of dog pile.
Yeah, I want to be on the side of like the moral correctness, but it's fiction. There is no such thing as moral correctness. None of it is real. None of it is meaningless outside of fandom. And I think a lot of people don't realize that like it's meaningless outside of fandom.
When I saw, what was it? The other day on Twitter, somebody said, they had like a petition, a fandom had a petition. Like it was a Thai BL, you know, like couple from a whatever. And their fandom had a petition out because both of these actors had music released in the same month. And their petition was to the company that they would not have them release music because we want to support them both. And this puts us against each other. And I'm like, do you know you can listen to more than one song a month? Like, I don't.
It's common sense is like
insanity.
Come on
it's
now.
Actual insanity.
Yeah, it really is.
And this is sort of pervasive in not just fandom. Like this is like filtered out to all walks of life, and it's got to change. And I feel like if people had better coping mechanisms with dealing with their own problems in their life, they wouldn't take their negative energy out on strangers on the internet. Because while, you know, and I feel like people are using dogpiling on random people they've never met as a form of escapism from their lives. It's not a very healthy form of escapism.
No.
And you could just watch dramas instead, y'all. Like, listen,
but even the way of doing that, I don't think there's like a correct way to watch dramas by any stretch. And I know that some people enjoy hate watching, and I'm actually not going to shit on that. Like people can do hate watching, but the problem becomes making other people feel shitty for liking something,
yeah,
that's
or forcing people
not
to
okay.
be a part of your conversation that you hate watch.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
like you can totally hate on a drama all you want.
But like you can't make everybody else be okay with what you're doing. It's like a very like it's your thing.
Listen, I'm very, if asked, I will admit I have a least favorite drama, and that is The Heirs. I don't like it. Okay,
Shocker to us all.
If someone likes The Heirs, I'm not gonna be up in their business being like, well, fuck you, because I hated The Heirs, which means no one can like it. No, you're allowed to like The Heirs. I don't care. Like, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. I didn't like it. That's fine. I also didn't like Life of Pi, but like everyone else I know who read it did. So like,
also, I hate to break. So like, I will give people if I know you well enough, which I really don't know that many people well enough online usually anymore to give good recommendation. I prefer giving recommendations if someone explains like
if they know
genre
what they're
preference
for.
or something.
Yeah.
But I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, you can totally cut that part out.
No, that's fine. Oh, I'm leaving it in, baby.
I literally this summer took a course on how to give. What they said was, you're never giving recommendations in the library situation. You don't give recommendations. You suggest things, right?
Yeah.
Here are some things you might, if you like this, maybe you'll like this, right?
Exactly.
Because also you're recommending stuff that often that you've never read, right? Because you're in a library with hundreds of thousands of books, right? Like whatever, you can't read everything. But yeah, like that was the whole thing. It was like, you can suggest stuff to people. You can suggest stuff that you didn't like to people. I've seen so many reviews where people are like, this didn't work for me, but like, it might work for you. So you should try it, and we typically try to do that in the podcast. Like if we all watch something and we're like, we did not like this drama.
It wasn't for us.
Right.
But that's
maybe
okay.
Like it, like, I don't know.
Not every drama is for every person. And also, it's like, if you're looking for a drama, especially if you're stressed out and you're looking for like a good drama, be specific about what sort of drama you're looking for before you go asking for recommendations.
That's
what you're like setting yourself up for failure at that point. Like you're going to start getting like recommendations by people and it's just what they really like.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be what you like. And then, you're going to sit there and go, oh, is this all the stuff? And it's like, no, you just didn't give anybody a direction. There's like
specific. That's right.
So that was I'll just give you my favorite thing. It just happens to be a horror slasher where everybody dies. Sorry.
In the course that I took, one of the things that they had us do was like ask questions. So like, I'm looking for a recommendation for a rom-com. Okay, well, what's the most recent rom-com that you watched that you enjoyed or read that you enjoyed, right? And then it's like, okay, and what about that rom-com was the thing that you liked, right? So that you're not just going, okay, rom-com, bam, here you go off the list.
But also, I've tried to have conversation, like, usually in the context of drama recommendations or something, I'll try to be like, give me something, or even, I just try to, just throw a genre at me that you like.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And they'll be like, well, I like all genres. It's like,
that's not helpful.
That's not helping.
It's like,
what are you in the mood for now?
Don't believe that.
Oh, I just remembered like what I was gonna like building to. What I was building to earlier was essentially, I consider myself a nice person, but the thing is, I am not personally invested at all.
Yeah.
In if someone watches the recommendation I give them, I am not sitting here like if I said, hey, I enjoyed such and such drama, like my own little post going, I really like this drama, and someone's like, should I watch it? And it's someone, some stranger going, should I watch this drama?
I don't know.
Or I watched the first 2 episodes and I dropped it. Should I pick it back up? Probably not. But like,
you tell me.
I really like the drama,
right?
Like, what do you want me to tell you?
Like once in a while, there's a drama where something drastically changes in episode 3 or 4 where you're like, you might want to give it 2 more just to see
just that,
because there's this change that it might change things for you.
But also, like, I'm not you, so I can't like give you this answer. Like,
right.
It's literally an answer I can't give you.
Typically, it's an utter stranger going, should I watch this thing? And I'm like, dude, I don't know you. Like,
I'm not invested in you or your life. Like, you know that
I don't know
man.
You too. So
like,
why are you asking me?
Listeners, that's not to say you can interact with me online all you want. Like,
yeah,
I'm friendly. I'm good having conversations, but I am not personally invested in what your watch list is because I find drama preferences, music preferences, book preferences, anything is so personal. Like, it's personal vibes. I cannot dictate to you if at any given moment you're going to dig anything I like. Like, that is even the ladies here. I intimately know you guys, but like, I'm not going to dictate how you like or dislike something. That's insane.
Well, and sometimes like we're 4 very different people. We might all really like the same drama, but we all might like it for completely different reasons.
Yes.
So if you come to me and say, well, all 4 of you guys liked it, should I watch it? Well, there's a good chance that you'll like it because we all liked it for different reasons. But maybe you are that secret 5th thing, and
secret
that, you know,
or there's like one specific thing that you don't like, and it's in this drama, and we can't tell you because it's a spoiler. So,
right,
good friend of the show, Katie. She gets recommendations from me all the time. She's a member of our fan family. We love Katie. Katie's the best. And she has told me things that she likes to avoid in dramas. And so it's gotten to the point, a lot of it are stuff that is common in BLs, because we both heard I like BLs. So she will actually like reach out to me when she knows I'm watching something and be like, hey, is any of this in the BL? And one of her big things is she really doesn't like sexual assault. Fair. Like none of us like it, but she doesn't like watching it. She doesn't like she can't handle seeing it. And so, like, for example, the last episode of the show Love in the Air, this is a little bit of a spoiler, does deal with the main character's abusive ex-boyfriend who did sexually assault him. And so I was like, just skip the last episode. You can watch up to the last episode and get out. And she was like, thank you. And that's exactly, like, if you know someone, you can tell them that. But if you don't know someone, you don't know what to tell them.
Yeah. Right. You don't like you shouldn't be like have to sit there and research them yourself. Like you shouldn't have to do the work for them. So
really specific questions. Like sometimes, you know, if I'm tweeting about something, like Annie, who also listens to our podcast, she'll come on and she'll go, is there, I know this is that type, I've seen some scenes. Is there any animal death? And I'll have to think about it for a minute because it doesn't trigger me the same way, right? So like, sometimes I might miss it, but like those are specific questions I can answer for you. I can't answer, will you enjoy this? But I can tell you that they slaughter a horse in the, you know, first scene or something, right? Like I can, that's something I can give you, right? Like
I can tell you that for sure.
Typically that is a close acquaintance, close friend type of conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, internet stranger person that I approach with a friendly thought.
Yeah.
I am not personally invested in if you ever watch or enjoy the thing that I watch and enjoy. I really don't, because I don't gauge my enjoyment. Like,
I mean, it's like a lot of fun when someone like really likes what you like, but like also I don't need people to like what I like too.
Same.
Like I'm very much like, it's like, okay, you didn't like it. Okay. It's not going to change my opinion on it, so I don't know why we're discussing it now.
I don't know why I'm involved in this discussion at the moment.
It's like the difference between somebody like on Twitter using their Twitter account to like post about what they don't like about something, and you're like, okay, that's cool because I don't have to interact with you.
Yeah, I didn't have to like
posting about I like it, and you come onto my Twitter post and start telling me all the reasons you hate it.
I'm just like, listen, I don't care. I don't care.
Respond
who asked, buddy? Who asked?
People, the answer you always get from people is, oh, but this is a public forum. So like you're asking people to get in. And I'm like, you know, the restaurant is a public place, but just because I'm having a conversation with my husband at the table does not mean that Joe from 3 tables over is invited to come and tap dance on my table. Like
no. And sometimes people in public do this to you, and it's the weirdest shit you've ever seen. Like my husband and I were on a bus, and I had been talking with a friend who was having problems with kids in the neighborhood. And basically the way I had phrased it was, she's not upset that they're playing loudly. She's upset that they keep kicking the ball into her office window when she's trying to work. And then so he was like, yeah, like, you know, someone should probably like talk to those kids and tell them about like, you know, respecting people's property. And this woman started going off on us in the middle of the bus about how we were being cruel to children and we should have some grace for children. And like, you know, how would we have liked it if as a child someone told us we couldn't play? And I just said, ma'am, I don't think it's mean to children to tell them to respect people's property.
Also, it just was like,
also,
okay,
you're not in this conversation.
Are they your children? Like, calm down, lady.
When I was a child and someone said, don't play here, I just didn't play
I moved to a new location. And the first part of my friend wasn't even saying they can't play here. She just said, stop kicking a ball in my window. Like, that was literally like, play as much as you want. It's the ball in the window thing. Yeah. Really, like, you know, one time's an accident repeatedly is a meditated choice here, children. But anyway, it was such a bizarre like interaction because I was like, ma'am, were we talking? Like, we weren't even talking loudly. Like, I'm not sitting on the bus yelling. Like, I was having a normal conversation with the person sitting next to me, my husband, who I clearly knew. And then this woman just decided to be very offended. And finally, when I like at the end of it, where I was like, ma'am, like, this, what you're saying makes no sense. Like, no one was being mean to her. She goes, well, have a blessed day, and walks away. And I'm like, yeah, you do. Like, okay. And it was such a weird interaction. And that's exactly what people sound like on Twitter when they come in and get mad about like whatever it is. Like, you know, like, let's say Lucy and I, friend of the show, Lucy and I, are having a good time sending each other memes about like Hoshi and Lee Soo-hyuk being in love. Because we're shipping them, okay? And someone's like, shipping real people? Is that like, who asked? We don't like, they don't care. They don't care if we're shipping them. We're not tweeting at them.
And also, you don't know us. You don't know that like us shipping, like,
it's a fun little bit we're doing. Like, chill out, okay?
That's our escapism.
Yeah, no, yes. Lucy and I escape life by just having a good old time in Yowieville, okay? Like, get off our job.
Well, and you know what? The flip side of the weird people jumping on your conversation in public or on Twitter or whatever is the people who jump on your conversation politely, like the person on the bus who overhears you talking about something and they're like, this might sound weird, but I love that, you know, and you're like, yay, we can love that together, right?
That's always a fun interaction. Like if someone leans over and goes, man, don't you know? Like everyone loves it. Nobody hated it. We all had a good time. But if you're just like, but basically just, if you're admonishing someone on Twitter for like liking something that you don't like, you sound like that weird person on the bus who got mad at me for hating children when I've never hated children.
Don't be that weird person on the bus.
Don't be the weird lady on the bus yelling at strangers about telling kids not to kick a ball at a house.
If that's your escapism, don't fucking do that.
Yeah, get a new one, okay? We're here to tell you you can choose another path. You don't have to live this way.
Because if you are the person on the bus who says, oh my God, I love that too, then you get to meet nice people on the internet and start a podcast with them. Like, yeah. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
That's how we all met.
Yeah. And then once a week.
I like this thing too.
Listen, and then once a week, you get to have a fun little escapism together where we escape stress by chilling and having a fun conversation. That's what you can look forward to if you're a nice person who's normal on the internet. Okay, like it's and what always gets me is it's so much easier to just be cool about stuff.
Also, everyone's just vastly different. Like even amongst friend groups, we're all very different. So the way we all escape varies. And we don't say, oh, you're doing it wrong. No! Like, why would we do that?
That's not how any of that works. That's an insane thing to say. That's
speaking of escapism, like for specific examples of escapism. So we have like the C-dramas that are TikTok C-dramas. Yep. Sky mentioned K-pop. I like part of my escapism sometimes is getting really into a specific group and then just watching all of their content. And it's just like you just tune out of the world and like watch all of their random little videos, the random like compilation videos that people make of them, and listen to their music, listen to live stuff. And that's like probably my like peak form of escapism is doing that, like honestly, because a lot of time if I'm like escaping, I want like don't really want to have to read all the subtitles too. Like I want to like really shut my brain off, and like usually you can with that because it's like usually them just like goofing around, so you don't really actually need to know everything that they say, and it's a lot of fun, and it's like a good form of escaping because
it's a healthy form.
Because you're just like completely in a different world. And it's like, especially when you get groups like Stray Kids where you're like, this is just like bananas. There's just so much content and they're just so crazy. And there's just like so much to consume that you're kind of just like there for a really long time.
And it's fun. It's just like a fun, good time. As we said, everybody liked it. Nobody hated it. We all had a good time, you know?
Yeah,
and it's so easy to do that. It's a lot harder to be mean about things.
Well, and like last year, I was going through a rough time emotionally, and like around that time, I was getting into Plave more, and so there wasn't a ton of, there was some original content which I was checking out, but it was more like it was the fan compilation type stuff. So there was a lot of
it was subtitled, so like you really couldn't with Plave. You kind of have to have subtitles.
And so. But that really helps me get through that because, like, the only thing I was really consuming then was silly crud from Plave. Like, that's all that was going on in my brain. But it helped because I knew I needed dopamine hits of some form, and it was like that was the only. It felt like that was the only accessible thing I could be pressing play on. In that moment.
Yeah,
and you know that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely done like I used to a lot with Running Man too. That was like definitely my like go-to. It kind of stopped when they all went away, and now like it's slowly coming back. Like they're the sites are actually doing a lot of the older stuff, but like man, that and like a lot of the other variety shows, I was just like that was the kind of the escapism. That was like it would be the kickoff to my weekend to be like finally like, okay, I'm gonna watch, like I Live Alone and Return of Superman and
well, like Running Man is so good, when you're saying about like when you just don't even have the capacity for subtitles. Like watching a bunch of grown people play tag, or essentially very violently play tag. Like you don't need to know.
There's also something to like where you're like, I'm so just like run down and don't want to escape from everything that like something so chaotic and so flashy and so graphic heavy works in a weird way. It's so much like stimulation, but it's like at an absurd level that it like kind of makes it like it helps you escape as well.
It's true.
Like it's a weird thing. You don't think that it would like, you would think that it would be like, oh, that's like so taxing on my brain, but no, it's not. It's just great.
It's good because it helps you get out of that. Like
it does
you out of it, right? Whereas if you're if you tried to sit down and watch like a slow mellow, your brain might not be as engaged. Like it might still be chattering at you about stuff because it's got the time in those slow moments that are beautiful cinematography that you're not appreciating because right now your brain is like chattering at you and you're like, shut up, brain. But if you go watch like, Running Man, your brain's just like looking everywhere. So you're like, I don't got time for that.
I don't have to worry about this. If your brain's just, instead of yelling at you about the things that are stressing you out in life, it's yelling at you like there's so much chaos happening that it literally pushes everything else out.
Yeah.
I think I've done that too with like when I've been very, very overwhelmed and there's not much that I'm consuming. Sometimes I'm like, I think it's time to pull up like, what's the latest Immortal Songs episode that like one of my favorites has been on? And then I'll watch. So again, I don't have to watch a ton of subtitles. There's a little bit of interviews in between, but essentially it's like, I know that there's going to be artists I don't know, whatever, but there's going to be some really like moving music. And mostly it's just like, I'm just going to like let the artistry be impressive. And that's really all that's hitting my brain. Like it's not a big story. I do think like, and sometimes shorter stories too. So like you were saying that those silly Chinese dramas. Like drama specials would actually be really accessible. If you're finally to where I can watch something, but I can only handle like a movie length thing. Like drama specials, like if you're stressed out, it's like this much escapism.
Or alternatively, like switching over to like a J drama where it's like 20-25 minutes long an episode. And it becomes like very quick and fast. It like you really kind of escape in that. Right. You're like, oh, okay.
Sure. The number of times that I sit down and I'm like, no, I don't have a 1 hour K-drama in me. Do I watch 4 episodes of the anime? Yes, I do. But like,
it's not the same.
It's not the same, right?
But also like,
it's a different time somehow.
That like the quickness of it is not going to be it, but like you need something that's like, you know, an hour 10 episode. Like you need it to be that long so you can actually escape, because then you can like be fully immersed in whatever the thing is and not just like constantly being out of it because it's switching to a new episode.
Because I was gonna say like stuff like the Thai dramas on YouTube, they don't always work because you gotta keep going to the next episode like every 10 minutes like, or whatever.
Yeah, or like the parts when they're like, you know, TV when they have them like, you know, the 15-minute breaks or whatever, and you're like, oh, now I have to like sit there and find the new part, let it load, and then it has like the ad or it has the disclaimer thing, and you're like, this is taking me out.
Like enough. But it's like, you know, it's like when you're like, I don't have the energy to watch a movie. But I do have the energy to watch 5 episodes of a show.
I am very much that person.
I am also that person.
Well, and all the more if it's auto starting.
Yes. Also, that's the other thing. Like the best form of escapism for me is for the service to just pick it. I don't want, like, if I have hands off, like that's like a dream. Even if I don't like what's happening, I'll just like switch to the other. But if I don't have to physically like scroll through and be like, oh no, maybe this one, or like, should I do this one? If it's just like, it's just gonna autoplay and let it go. I'm like,
it's just like, here you go. I'm like, take that absolutely. Take me, algorithm daddy.
Which is like really great on YouTube, especially when you're like watching gaming stuff and then you're like, I'm just gonna put on one Minecraft, like
just one.
And then you're like
one
6 deep, and it's all different like streamers too, and you're like, oh, this is the life. This is
listen. I'm like
another 100 days on island. Yeah, sure.
Like a new season of like this Minecraft thing just started that has like 20 people in it. And then I'm like, shit, that means I got 20 new POVs every week, baby.
It's so great.
Like, yes, I would like to watch you try to kill each other in Minecraft. Hell yes. Like, and it's, I know I'm not the target demographic, the gaming YouTuber, but like when you just click autoplay on and it's like, hell yeah, okay, here you go, next one. I'm like,
I mean, it does that with K-pop like stuff too, which is really nice. And it's just like you get into this loop and you're like, you don't even have to like press play. You're just like hands off.
Give it to me.
I'm gonna sit back and relax.
I follow some Korean and some Japanese camper type people. Like it's usually car camping.
Yes.
Korean campers. And there's one gal that like the inside of her Jeep, she just makes it very aesthetic and like kind of pastel, like soft colors. And then there's a guy that like he has his little poodle dog with him. And also the first girl, like she has cats at home. She never brings the cats with her to camp, but if there's a cat like at the campground, she's always about like interacting with the cat.
Yeah.
Like that's
well, but, like hello,
duh.
of course, it's a cat.
Yeah,
of course you're gonna interact with a cat.
And also, she's usually doing some like crochet thing, like Anyway, so I watch a lot of that chill stuff. Also, there's this one. It was just a guy, but now he's gotten married. But like he's this younger like Japanese farmer guy, just like a really slowed down, very rural life.
Love it.
And it'll show him like making his quiet little breakfast
and
working in his garden with his big straw hat and like. And they'll just talk about life and stuff. And then recently it's like, here's our wedding that we made these handmade like favors for the kid. Like just very sweet, like very chill.
Nice.
It's like I love those.
I love stuff like that.
On TikTok, I like follow this one girl and she like, I think she's like in Arizona and she works at like a convenience store at a gas station in this like small town. And she does the morning shift. And so she's basically feeding the town breakfast. And it's just like her, she'll like show like her going into work. And so she's like making all the breakfast sandwiches. And then like you'll see like interacting with all the like people in town. And then she also does a lot of baked goods for them too. Like it's a very like great little like
I like
job.
that.
And it's like the definitely very small town. Everybody knows everybody type thing. But it's just like fun. It's like the same thing every time, but it's just like nice. It's fun. It's like chill. She's like bright and happy. And she also like shows how she makes some of her stuff too. And she does a lot of things like from scratch and like just like little bits of like pieces of conversation with like just all the regulars that are coming in. And it's just like such a nice thing to watch. That's like a really nice escapism when you're like watching someone in a life or a position that like you would never even think to learn more about. And it's like nice to be like, oh, now I get to see like how you live. And
it's just nice, right? And and that is always, it's actually really healthy for you to see these things for people that you wouldn't think about or consider, because then it expands your consciousness to like what other people are up to and gets you out of main character syndrome and lets you know that other people are living full, complete lives as well, not just you, which I feel like a lot of people online may have sometimes forgotten a little. Just,
not main character energy in a positive sense.
Bad main character energy, not the good main character energy. the main character
and like
energy.
what we've sort of said multiple times already, like different things are going to work for different people, right? So like for somebody say who is a farmer, watching like the
farming content
farmer stuff probably doesn't help them feel the escapism.
Right?
But like maybe the camper van stuff does, right? Like because it's not, like if that is your reality, it's not escapism.
It's not escapism if you're just watching your reality.
Because I can imagine being a mom and knowing like there's so much mommy content out there, right? And some of it's really cute and really sweet and everything. But even the stuff that is made in just a completely look at how much fun I'm having doing this thing for my kids or doing can make, if you're in that place, in that state of mind, it can make you feel judged as a mom.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that for my kids, so I'm a bad mom.
Yeah.
And I could see how you might using the farmer, right? Like you're watching somebody who's an organic farmer who does these things by hand or something, and now you're feeling judged. Like, well, I use pesticides, my friend, because I need to feed my, like that's not the kind of farm I'm running or whatever, right? Like you just might start feeling more in your head instead of less, right? So that's why everybody's different and we need lots of different things.
We all escape in different ways. And it's and you know what? And this isn't like a bad thing. Like having I feel like escapism, sometimes people put a lot of negative connotations on it, but it's mostly just like having an outlet for stress, like a healthy, positive outlet for stress that isn't taking it out on other people. Which a lot of people have not learned, even though they're in their ripe old ages. They don't know you could just not take it out on other people. You can work on it in healthy ways.
And I do think the most helpful times like of escapism for me is when you really get into a flow state with it or get super hyper fixated in a way that it's really helping you get outside of your head.
Absolutely.
So you don't always necessarily hit that flow. And that's why I was kind of talking about kind of like, oh, just one Immortal Songs episode, or oh, just one little taste of something can sometimes be at least helpful. But I think the ones that are like kind of the most dopamine payoff for me seem to be the like,
you go all really in.
Like, oh, hyperfixating on this actor. Gonna watch 5 different dramas.
Yes.
Here we go. Yes. Do I have time for this? No. Did I watch all these? Yes, I did. Like,
well, then we put ourselves on blast here. We're
so much fun. It's just so great. Like,
good. And talking about the specifics, I'm sort of similar to Natalia. For me, it would be C dramas, but typically the more like regular C dramas, but the college rom-com, the C drama college rom-com just hits that sweet spot for me, because they're like, there's only so many plots, similar to like what Natalia was saying. There's so many plots. It's either enemies to lovers or friends to lovers, right? Like that. Those are kind of the only like, 2 plots.
And it's mostly just like billionaire saves poor pregnant woman. But like, and you're just like, yeah, sure, whatever.
For me, for like the college ones, typically the college C drama rom-coms anyway, like the ones that are just purely college C drama rom-com are very, like, nothing bad ever really happens. There's never, like there's never the things that might snag me or make me angry. Like they're just, it's like, usually the whatever the stress is, it comes from outside. It's usually the college is being a jerk in some way, shape, or form, or the other college, or the other department in the college, or something, right? Like it's rarely the two or the groups of friends that are causing the problems. And like, I just like that. I'm like, I just want people to get along, and then like get along.
Can't we all just get along?
Like, I don't want to have betrayal, or like, when I just want, like, be betrayed by the big bad corporation. Fine. But
listen,
like,
the evil
best friend?
Fine.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want the surprise, like, my best friend tried to like steal my husband's story. No.
Get out of here.
You might not like these C dramas made for TikTok then. That's a very common plot.
On a complete opposite end of the spectrum, I think last year when I was going through a rough time and I had my Plave moment, and then as far as what got me back into watching dramas, I'm pretty sure it was The Veil with Nam Goong Min. The most dark.
Hey,
sometimes that's all you need. You just need to see others hurt.
It got me out of my head though, because I would get so engaged. And he was going through a really rough time in that show. Like, he was worse. I'm good.
He was suffering.
Yeah. It's like, oh, emo boy with no emotion on his face. Like, I was so good with that. And so then, of course, that sent me on my Nam Goong Min spiral that I had. But then that got me back into like, hey, dramas again. But it's funny. It's really funny how, and I'm not always, oh, I need the like super dark intense. But sometimes, again, I throw it at a wall and it sticks. And I'm like, yep, this is the thing that is going to be. I don't know why it's working.
Don't question it. You're just there.
It's fine. Sometimes you need the escapism that's like way lighter and better and shinier than what's going on in your life right now. And sometimes you need the escapism that's way darker, way worse, way more terrible. So you can be like, wow, my life does not suck nearly that bad. Like,
well, I guess it's not terrible
pretty good right now,
Yeah, like, at least I wasn't betrayed and brainwashed by like a handful of corrupt people. Like, I'm having a good time. Like,
not fine. It's fine.
Don't worry about it.
But I do think it's fascinating how escapism can be different for each person, but also within each person, like it just depends on the moment in time for you. And
It's true.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's what's accessible, or just what app seems friendliest to you to utilize in that moment. Even just that can be the deciding factor of
like,
all I have in me right now is YouTube. Therefore, that is what
That's
going
what
to
we're doing.
Like you go to turn on Viki and it's like on the Roku, it has signed you out, and now you have to no.
You're like, no,
forget it.
Cut the cameras, dead ass. Like, no.
Who has left me still signed in? That's what I'm watching today. Because there are no passwords in my brain. So
we're not.
Sometimes it is. Is it going to be anything that you would typically watch? No. Like if you just go totally like left field, like this is something I would typically never ever watch, but I'm just curious today. Like I get in curious mode sometimes, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to feed my like curiosity a little bit. Usually I have to do a movie for that though. Usually movies are better to like satiate that completely and not just like watch one episode of something and just kind of let it hang there forever. Just chill out.
Well, that's it for us today, I guess. You know, it is what it is. We hope that you enjoyed escaping with us for a little while we just chatted about stuff here today. And if you want to hear us chat about slightly more specific stuff, we have 6 years of episodes behind us that we put out pretty much weekly that you can check out on wherever podcasts can be found. But you also can go to our website, certifiednoonas.com, to join the Certified Fan family. And, we're also on YouTube. We're in video if you want that. Like and subscribe, as we're legally obligated to say, as we always joke. We love our YouTube people. We love
YouTubers.
We love our non-YouTube people. Good times. And also, if you want to support this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/certifiednoonas to join the Certified Fan family, our fan family on the web. They're great. We love them. We do little mini episodes here and there. We have a movie night every month. It's super fun. We love the fan family. They really support us for years in what we've been doing here, which is just trying to give y'all a good thing to listen to on a Monday morning. Anyway, we hope you have a great week. Stay safe, wear a mask, wash your hands, and keep enjoying and escaping with Asian entertainment. Goodbye.
Bye.